At one time, this simple drink was forbidden, not because it was poison, not because it destroyed the body, but because it changed the mind. It kept people awake. It made them talk. Rulers feared it. Religious leaders questioned it. Some cities banned it completely. And yet today, millions of people drink it every morning, without fear, without thinking twice. This is the story of the drink that was once illegal. A dark liquid, warm and bitter. The mystery begins with a question. How can a drink become a threat? How can a cup of liquid worry kings? Why would leaders close shops over something poured into small cups? Why would laws be written about it? The answer reveals something deeper. Because this drink did more than wake people up. It created conversation. It created connection. And sometimes connection feels dangerous, especially to those in power, especially in uncertain times. To understand this story, we must travel back centuries, before modern cities, before electric lights. In the highlands of East Africa, people noticed something unusual. Goats were behaving strangely. They were restless at night. The animals had eaten small red berries. After eating them, they did not sleep. They moved with sudden energy. Few people knew this would change the world. At first, it was only curiosity, a simple observation. Local people began to test the berries. They chewed them. They felt alert. Later, the berries were crushed, mixed with water, heated gently. The result was dark and bitter, but it brought clarity. It kept the mind awake. This drink slowly moved across the Red Sea, into the Arabian Peninsula, into growing cities. There it found a new purpose. It was used by those who prayed at night. It helped them stay focused. The drink became part of spiritual life. It was not yet controversial. It was useful. But the strange part was this. People did not only drink it in private. They gathered together. Small shops appeared. Simple rooms with low tables. Cups passed from hand to hand. People sat together for hours. They talked. They listened. They shared stories. They debated ideas. They discussed news. This was new. Unlike alcohol, this drink sharpened thinking. It did not slow the mind. These places became known as coffee houses. Spaces open to many people, rich and poor together. Few people knew how powerful this would become, because inside these rooms, ideas moved freely. And ideas are strong. Rulers began to notice. Crowds were gathering regularly. Conversations were growing bold. In some cities, leaders felt uneasy. They worried about rebellion. They worried about criticism. The drink itself was not violent, but the conversations could be. Words carry weight. And so, suspicion began. Questions were asked. Warnings were spoken. Was this drink encouraging unrest? Was it weakening authority? Was it changing society? Some religious authorities debated its effects. They questioned whether it altered behavior. They questioned whether it was acceptable. Arguments spread quietly. Scholars discussed its influence. Opinions divided communities. But demand continued to grow. People enjoyed the alert feeling. They enjoyed the company. Coffee houses multiplied. Street after street saw new doors open. Inside, lamps glowed late into the night. The air filled with the smell of roasted beans. The sound of voices echoed. Ideas traveled quickly. But the strange part was this. Power does not always fear weapons. It often fears thought. The drink was not dangerous alone. It was dangerous together, in groups. This is where the tension began, not in the cup, but in the crowd. Soon the first ban was announced in one major city. Coffee houses were ordered to close. The drink was declared unlawful. Shops were shut down. Doors were locked. Supplies were confiscated. People were surprised. Many were confused. The drink had seemed harmless. But the reason was clear to rulers. Coffee houses created discussion. Discussion created awareness. And awareness can challenge authority. even quietly, even slowly. The ban did not last long. Public resistance grew. The drink returned. But something had changed. The relationship between coffee and power was now tense. Suspicion remained. Few people knew this was only the beginning, because the drink was about to travel further and carry its tension with it. It moved into new empires, into new cultures, into new conversations. Each new city faced the same question. Is this drink harmless, or is it a threat? From simple berries in distant hills, a global story had begun. A story about thought, a story about control. As the drink spread, it entered the heart of powerful empires. Caravans carried sacks of green beans. Roasting fires burned in busy markets. In large cities, coffee houses multiplied quickly. They were simple spaces. Wooden benches, low ceilings, warm light. Men gathered after sunset. They sat close together. They stayed for hours. They listened to storytellers. They played board games. They debated politics. But the strange part was this. These rooms had no walls against ideas. Words moved freely. News traveled faster inside coffee houses than in official halls. Merchants shared rumors. Travelers shared stories. Some rulers began to feel uneasy again. Crowds were forming daily, and crowds can change direction quickly. In one great imperial city, thousands of coffee houses existed. Some were small, some were crowded and loud. Spies were sent inside. Officials listened quietly. Reports were written. Few people knew how closely they were being watched. A simple cup now carried political weight. Conversations were recorded. Soon, another ban was announced. Coffee houses were ordered to close once more. The drink was declared dangerous. This time, the punishment was stronger. Some owners were arrested. Some shops were destroyed. The smell of roasted beans disappeared from the streets. Doors stayed closed. Silence replaced discussion. But the ban did not erase desire. People still wanted the drink. They still wanted conversation. Secret gatherings began. Coffee was brewed in private homes. Doors were locked carefully. What happened next surprised everyone. Even some leaders began drinking it secretly. The ban became difficult to enforce. The drink slowly returned to public life. Coffee houses reopened. Tension remained beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the drink traveled west into Europe. Ships carried beans across the sea. Curiosity followed. At first, many Europeans were unsure. The drink was dark and bitter. It came from distant lands. Some called it strange. Some called it suspicious. A few called it sinful. Religious leaders debated its place in society. Did it change behavior? Did it harm the soul? Few people knew that one important decision would shape its future. A powerful religious figure was asked to judge it. He tasted it himself. He did not find it evil. He found it interesting. The drink remained allowed. Coffee houses soon appeared in European cities. They were called penny universities in some places. For a small price, anyone could enter. Inside, people read newspapers. They discussed science. They debated philosophy. Writers found audiences. Scientists shared discoveries. Merchants negotiated deals. But the strange part was this. The drink did not belong to the powerful alone. It welcomed many voices. In one country, coffee houses became centers of political discussion. Government officials grew nervous. Crowds grew louder. Pamphlets were written and shared. Ideas questioned authority. Criticism became common. The king felt threatened. He believed coffee houses encouraged rebellion. He decided to act. An order was announced to close them. The drink itself was not banned everywhere, but the gathering places were targeted. Public reaction was immediate. Merchants protested. Citizens complained. The ban lasted only a short time. Economic pressure was strong. Coffee houses reopened. Few people knew how important these spaces would become. Inside them, companies were born. Newspapers developed. Financial systems grew stronger. Insurance businesses began. Trade networks expanded. The drink was no longer just social. It was economic. It was intellectual. Coffee helped people stay awake during long workdays. Factories relied on alert workers. Offices filled with its scent. The world was changing quickly, and the drink moved with it, quietly influencing routines. But behind this success, tension never fully disappeared. Some leaders still feared open discussion. Some communities still questioned its effects. From Africa to Arabia to Europe, the drink had crossed cultures. Each region faced the same question. Is this drink harmless or powerful beyond measure? The answer was becoming clearer. It was not the liquid itself. It was the thinking it encouraged. Few people realized that coffee was helping shape a new world. A world of conversation. A world of ideas. And once ideas begin to move freely, they are difficult to control, even by law. The drink that was once illegal was now entering the center of modern life. But the story was not finished, because every gain carries a hidden cost, and every success leaves a shadow. The next chapter would reveal both. As coffee became common in cities, demand began to rise sharply. Cups multiplied, so did the need for beans. Small farms could no longer supply enough. Merchants searched for new lands. Profit guided their decisions. Coffee plants were carried across oceans. Seeds traveled in wooden ships. New plantations were planned. In distant tropical regions, large fields were created. Forests were cleared. Soil was reshaped. But the strange part was this. The drink that encouraged freedom of thought was grown in systems that denied freedom. Enslaved people were forced to work on many plantations. They planted the trees. They harvested the cherries. Days were long and exhausting. The sun was unforgiving. Escape was almost impossible. Few people drinking coffee in distant cities knew this. They saw only the cup, not the labor behind it. As production increased, global trade expanded. Ports filled with sacks of beans. Markets grew louder. Entire economies began to depend on coffee. Governments collected taxes from it. Empires calculated profit from it. Coffee became more than a drink. It became a financial engine, a pillar of global commerce. In some regions, coffee replaced older crops. Land was reorganized. Communities were reshaped. What happened next surprised many observers. Coffee influenced politics. Policies were built around it. Nations competed for control of supply. Trade agreements were negotiated. Power shifted quietly. At the same time, coffee houses continued to grow. They became places for writers and thinkers. Revolutionary ideas were discussed openly. In one European country, political clubs met in coffee houses. They debated rights and representation. They imagined change. Pamphlets criticizing authority spread quickly. Coffee kept readers alert. Discussion turned into action. But the strange part was this. Leaders who once tried to ban coffee now relied on it themselves. Government offices served it daily. Soldiers drank it to stay awake. Workers depended on it. The drink had moved from rebellion to routine, from suspicion to necessity. It had entered daily life. Few people realized how deeply it shaped schedules. Morning routines changed. Work hours extended. Factories opened earlier. Meetings lasted longer. The pace of life increased. Coffee quietly supported the Industrial Revolution. It fueled focus, encouraged productivity. Yet tension remained beneath the surface. Some doctors warned against too much consumption. They questioned its health effects. Debates appeared in newspapers. Was coffee helpful or harmful? Opinions divided once again. In some places, moral critics spoke out. They feared addiction. They feared dependency. But no ban returned on a large scale. The world had changed. Coffee was too integrated. It was part of daily labor, part of social life, part of global trade. The drink that was once illegal was now ordinary, almost invisible, but its influence was everywhere. In offices, in newspapers, in universities, in political halls, in quiet homes before sunrise. Few people paused to consider this. They drank without thinking. They worked without questioning. Yet the story of coffee was never simple. It carried both freedom and control, both conversation and labor. It connected continents. It shaped economies. It influenced revolutions. From a legal drink to global necessity, coffee had transformed the world. But one final question remained. What does this history mean for us today? What does it reveal about power and habit, about fear and change? The final part of the story is quieter, but more personal, because the drink that was once illegal still sits in our hands every morning, and few people think about its past. Few remember the bans. Few remember the fear. But the strange part is this. Its power has not disappeared. It has only become normal. The story now turns inward, from history to reflection, from conflict to meaning. Because sometimes the most powerful changes are the ones we no longer notice. And that may be the greatest twist of all. Today, coffee no longer feels dangerous. It sits quietly in kitchens. It steams gently in morning light. No one calls it illegal. No one closes shops because of it. The fear seems distant. But the strange part was this. The power that once worried kings never truly disappeared. Coffee still changes the mind. It sharpens attention. It keeps us awake. It still gathers people together, around small tables, across long conversations. In offices, it fuels meetings. In universities, it fuels study. In homes, it fuels quiet mornings. Few people think about this daily ritual. It feels ordinary. It feels harmless. Yet once, this same ritual was considered dangerous, because alert minds ask questions, and questions can shift power. Coffee helped build spaces where ideas moved freely. Those spaces shaped modern society. They shaped debate and discovery. Some historians say coffee houses helped create public opinion. They offered room for discussion. They invited disagreement. And disagreement can lead to change. Sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. What happened next in history is clear. Societies transformed. Political systems evolved. Coffee was not the only cause, but supported the environment of thought, encouraged alert conversation. At the same time, its global trade left scars. Plantations shaped economies. Labor systems caused suffering. The drink that symbolized freedom of thought was grown through systems of control. This contradiction remains. Few people consider both sides together. The comfort and the cost. The warmth and the weight. Every cup carries a long history of travel, of labor, of bans and resistance, of debate and belief, of fear and acceptance. Coffee teaches something quiet about power. What is feared today may become normal tomorrow. New ideas often appear threatening. New habits can worry authorities. Change rarely feels comfortable. But the strange part is this. When people gather to think together, history begins to move. A simple drink created shared spaces. Shared spaces created shared thought. Shared thought shaped the modern world. Today, we no longer see coffee as revolutionary. It feels routine. It feels necessary. Yet each morning, as the aroma rises, we participate in a long story, a story of connection. We sit alone or together. We pause before the day begins. We prepare to think. Few rituals are so widespread. Few habits are so quiet. Few carry such history. The drink that was once illegal now defines the rhythm of modern life. Work begins with it. Conversations open with it. Ideas grow beside it. Creativity often starts with it. Its journey from fear to acceptance reveals something about human nature. We resist what changes us. Then we adapt. Then we forget we ever resisted. Time softens memory. Coffee reminds us that influence is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is daily. Sometimes it comes in a small cup, warm between our hands, simple and familiar. The story of this drink is not about bitterness. It is about awakening, awakening of mind. An awakening can feel dangerous because it invites awareness. It invites change. Yet today, we drink without fear. The bans are gone. The debates are quieter. But the power remains. In thought, in dialogue, in every question asked over a shared table, in every idea written after midnight, in every early morning plan. The drink that was once illegal has become a symbol of modern life, a symbol of connection. It reminds us that small things can shift entire societies, slowly and steadily. Next time you hold a cup, you hold more than a drink. You hold centuries of change. You hold stories of fear and resistance, of trade and labor, of ideas and courage. History often hides in simple habits. We rarely notice. We rarely remember. But it is there, quiet and steady, like steam rising in the morning light. If you enjoy calm stories like this, you're welcome to stay. There are many more quiet histories to explore. Until next time, notice the ordinary rituals around you. They may carry extraordinary stories.